Wow, this came out of nowhere. Okay, so there is going to be the patch 3.0.2 update coming next week, like literally just next week, and no one even expected this to drop so soon. Okay, so patch 3.0.2 details, there will be a 200 Nexus Crystals reward after the patch. Okay, so we're going to go through like step by step, right? So I think for this video, we're just going to take a look at the new Espers, which came out of nowhere. Okay, so there is going to be a 5-star Wind Attune Esper, so Armored Gap is a support Esper who can frequently heal allies and enhance their attack. Okay, so this is quite important. There's going to be a new attack buffer. There are actually really very few attack buffers. So Armored's first ability, Prelude to Life, attacks an enemy dealing damage based on the caster's attack and max HP, and heals an ally for a portion of the caster's max HP. This is huge. So this is basically like a Clara skill 1. Then moving on, Armored's passive, Warm Harmonics, heals the ally with the lowest HP. Each time Gap actively casts a healing ability, if a target suffers from a max HP penalty, which is basically a HP cap, restores the target's max HP threshold by a percentage, and applies 1 stack of supporting song. Wow, this is a strong counter against Loyan. If the target's HP is below a certain percentage, applies another stack of supporting song, and there are some after effects during the ascension as well. So each time Gap casts a healing ability actively, he passively heals an ally with the lowest HP. So this stacks with his first skill. So if a target suffers from a max HP penalty, restores the target's max HP, yeah, this one we have talked about, clears diseased debuffs, and applies 1 stack of supporting song. So if the target's HP is below a certain percentage, applies another stack of supporting song. So what does supporting song do? It grants a percentage of base attack boost per stack. This is pretty good. So basically the number of supporting song buffs you have grants an increase in your attack power of, I would assume, your ally. So what's very interesting to me is that this is completely undispellable, which means that it is a permanent increase in your DPS output. Then finally, Armored's third ability, World Stage, reduces ability cooldown for all allies. This is interesting, and heals the allies with the lowest HP a certain number of times, each time restoring their HP equal to a portion of the caster's max HP. This is insane. Oh my gosh, it's based on his own max HP. Cooldown will not be affected by unique abilities. So this Esper is potentially quite powerful, right? It looks a little bit like Clara in the sense that, you know, your heals are based on your own max HP, but Clara doesn't even scale off her max HP on her third skill, but Armored does, so this is pretty insane. However, this supporting song, this is more of like an offensive or rather like attack type healer, whereas Clara is more well-rounded, I feel. Now moving on to Steward Dionysus. Okay, so this is a 4-star Infernal Attune Esper. So Steward is a fighter Esper. We have another Infernal fighter Esper with high single target damage and the ability to inflict sleep debuffs on enemies. I'm going to compare this Esper with Lewis immediately, okay? So Steward's first ability, Down Your Cups, deals damage to an enemy with a chance of inflicting sleep. Okay, that's kind of weird. Steward's second ability, Soundly Dreams, deals damage to an enemy if the target's HP falls below a certain percentage after the attack, inflicts sleep on them. Then Steward's third ability, Time Vortex, deals damage to an enemy at the cost of the caster's current HP. So kind of like Taylor over here, when landing a critical hit, deals additional damage to the target based on their max HP. This attack inflicts sleep on both the caster and the target. Wow, he puts himself to sleep. However, after Ascension, there is an extra effect over here. Uses Soundly Dreams to counter-attack if the caster is awoken from sleep. This is pretty sick. So basically, if he's asleep and he wakes up, he will use his second ability over here. Right, now new features. Okay, so added Divine Sequencer. So I've actually talked about this in my community page. So enter from the upper right of the Echo panel, disassemble an Esper in the device to get Mono Prism and Dio Prism, used for redeeming Shimmer Records and other rewards. So like I mentioned before, this may be a pretty whale-baity content because most of you guys are probably going to be running out of fodder materials to make 6-star Espers. So if that's the case, I don't think it really makes a lot of sense for you to disassemble your Espers that way. And obviously there is a catch here, right? So your Esper needs to already be max reso, then you can use it as a material. So basically the game knows if like you have excess materials or not. If you do not have excess materials, they are not going to allow you to fodder your Esper. So essentially they are forcing you to max reso all of your Espers. And there's going to be a new event that runs for about 2 weeks. So event details, this is a charity show. Side stories contain different Esper stories. Open side stories to replay event Espers have experienced, okay? Each event requires inspiration points to unlock. During the event, log in daily to get 3 inspiration points and spend 60 stamina in other instances to get 1 inspiration point. Now, completing relevant event grants gold records, Nexus Crystals, Relic secondary attributes, reset chances, and other rewards. Oh, this is pretty interesting. This is actually really good, dude. Relic secondary attribute reset chances, this is it. So basically all of your flawless relics, right? Hold on to them right now, okay? Hold on to all of your flawless relics, even if it's trash. this can potentially be very powerful. Now all your prayers have been answered, okay, so this is exactly what you guys wanted and now you're gonna have it. So basically there is going to be armored probability up. So during the event, the chance of summoning armored from Echo Spins is increased. So the chance of getting him is increased to 10%. So this is basically the same thing as what we have right now with Ollie. However, this is the part where you guys are crazy about. So this is the sparking system. If you haven't obtained the specified Esper after 450 summons, the next legendary Esper summon is guaranteed to be armored. This is insane, dude. So if you have say 450 summons, which I bet none of you have, you are able to spark armored. So now they are actually going back into, you know, sparking system. So like I said before, you know, you guys shouldn't worry too much about, you know, like the gacha and all that. They are tweaking it as we progress through the game and they know exactly what they are doing. So don't worry about it. Of course, I know a lot of you guys are going to complain like, whoa, wow, 450 is way too much. And I kind of agree, yes, 450 is a lot, especially for free-to-play players. But then again, the people who were complaining about the no PT system back then were basically like small spenders and the whales, not really the free-to-play players, because it was impossible for you to even get 350 summons as a free-to-play player. And as before, there is going to be a summoning event as well, so there is going to be legendary Abilimons after spinning enough times in the Echo. Now this is so good, dude. This is incredibly good. So added a quick jump feature in Esper deployment screen. A lot of you guys have asked for this. So when deploying Espers, hold a deployed Esper and tap Enhance to jump to the growth screen of the Esper. But I hope, you know, this actually leads you to the relic page as well. If that's the case, then you can change your relics on the fly and that's really awesome. But yeah, fingers crossed it doesn't explicitly say that, but I think they are going in the right direction. Now moving on to some adjustments and optimizations. So we're actually going to skip the club optimizations because this is just like some minor detail. So over here, infinite miracle changes, increased spatial tower rewards, players will be compensated based on the increase in rewards. So there's probably going to be like, you know, shimmer pieces and all that. I assume that that's what they're going to add and therefore we're actually going to get the difference over there. Same for temporal tower as well, so players can get more record fragments after July 1st, blah blah blah. Now this one is quite necessary, okay, so Esper info and growth screen optimization. So in the Esper info screen, you can tap on their stats to get a detailed explanation of the stat. This should have been in long ago. Now moving on to Esper balance changes. We are starting off with Tang Xuan. He's gonna get yet another change, okay, so previously his ability 1, right, deals damage and then blah blah blah, yeah, he adds some effect and all that. New, okay, so deals damage equal to 120% of attack plus damage equal to 80% of attack. Okay, so no longer 50% to 2 other random enemies. This is a well-needed buff. He needed more damage. That's exactly what we needed. So there's more damage here. Very nice. Now, even more damage increase on his second ability. So previously, you know, he absorbs all of his enchantments and then, you know, he just has like a shield effect and all that. But now he actually amplifies his attack by 10% based on the number of absorbed enchantments. This is crazy good, dude. This is really good. This is very nice for his damage and potentially he can be quite useful in like different content. So I might need to revisit him again. This is an insane change to Taylor, dude. Look, so previously his normal attack, you know, it does damage and increases based on the HP that he has lost. But now he gains a shield in addition to the same damage that he's gonna do. So he's potentially very, very tanky. He can use his normal attack to gain himself a shield, which allows him to have lower HP and survive that way. This is a really good thing. This is very, very nice. So as long as you build him with a whole ton of damage, his shield is going to be very big as well. Very good change for Taylor. And this is also a nice change to his ability 3, so basically he loses, you know, 1 turn of each of these buffs, which is not a good thing, right? But the thing is, you also reduce the ability's cooldown by 1 turn if you do not slay the enemy. So that's at least like some kind of supportive mechanism in case he missed to Oko. Now next for the White Death Guard, so basically the change over here is previously there is a reduction of AP by 10%, now it just increases to 20%. I guess they are thinking that these Espers, you know, they are not really that used and therefore they're going to get some changes. And this one is potentially very powerful. This is like a tricky, it's like a mini tricky right now, okay? So previously you steal 10% of target's AP on each of the hits, right? But now the first hit steals 20%, so basically it is still 20%. However, the second hit increases all the target's debuff durations for 1 turn. So if you stun on his second skill, you're actually going to be able to extend the stun duration by 1 turn. Very similar to Tricky. This is amazing. So he's gaining a lot of relevance over there. So now next we are taking a look at Zelma. This is actually a nerf. So they actually added a ceiling to her damage. You know, the bonus damage increases up to only 120%. Previously there wasn't actually a cap. Now next one, I think this is a kind of like a nerf. Yeah, it has to be a nerf, right? So Anki Chai, so right now cooldown of his third skill will not be affected by unit abilities, which means that if you use units such as like Armored and all those, if you use units that can reduce the cooldowns of your skills, he is actually not going to get this effect. Well, at least for his third skill. Now this one is potentially quite useful. So Ira, right, so previously she has a 70% chance of gaining a speed buff for 2 turns, which is probably quite forgettable, but now she has a 25% chance to gain an extra turn, which means that if she's on Avatara, I think she can potentially be quite strong. And now there is a huge buff to ability 2, so previously it was just, Brazen Garment's Watch for 2 turns plus a purification of all debuffs, but now you actually reduce all their cooldowns at the same time, so this is pretty good. And there is a huge change to Brazen Garment's Watch as well. So previously, you just grant 15% bonus AP at the end of each teammate's turn, but now you cannot be debuffed at the same time. This is huge. This is basically an immunity effect at the same time. And dude, this is huge. This is freaking huge for me. Dude, fix an issue of Jinyu Yao's passive not correctly triggering. The HP regen passive should be triggered under all conditions instead of only triggering when a debuff is cleared. So she's always going to constantly heal by 5% every single turn that she takes. Even more reason for you to go Windwalker on her. She is going to be so much better right now. And also fix an issue with Biodina's passive, sometimes not choosing the right target. It should prioritize the targets with buffs. This is not the change that we need, okay? This is not the fix that we need. We need her to be smarter about the way she targets. We need her to target Espers with like more attack, for example. Or maybe Espers with more defense. So those are the Espers that really needs to be targeted. This is not a fix. This is not even smart change. Alright, so that's about it for the changes for 3.0.2. There are a lot of exciting changes and I'm very hyped for Jinyu Yao. I use her in every single endgame content and now she's gonna be even more useful. Hell yeah! But anyway, that will be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to leave a thumbs up, it really helps the channel. And subscribe for more Dislyte content. Now this has been Daddy Free to Play and as always, I will see you in the next video.